Yeah, where's my share?
It's planning tonight.
Oh, yeah. I'm not on that.
Everybody's on planning.
I said no to it.
This is declared independent.
All right, okay, well, that's,
Right, so why is that not showing? Presenting Teams.
like when I said no to Stanley Ford.
You can't say no to Stanford either.
I did.
Yes, I know, but it didn't make any difference because you were still on
The
Stanford.
thing is, if you say no,
Yeah, well, that's the
yeah,
choice.
but you're still liable.
Yeah,
Because you can't, you're still liable, just because you're not in the meetings, you're still liable.
yeah, exactly. So
Any trust that you belong to,
Charity commission resigned.
you can't,
You
because it's
can't.
part of your, you sign when you sign as a council, Thetford Town Council, so you can't resign.
Anyway, I like Stanley Ford.
Yeah, so too. Right. Right, lovely people, are we ready to go?
Look,
I think that's what
this works. Piece of paper and I can guarantee it will work.
Right,
It's like coffee.
okay. Are we ready to roll?
right, I'll now start the meeting.
Oh, look at that.
Welcome to the 12th of July Personnel Committee meeting. And I would like to start off with, is there any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest or non-pecuniary interests or any other interests? No, thank you. Apologies for absence, please. I'll go to the secretary. Secretary. Thank you. Moving on, 179/22 is to confirm the minutes of the committee meeting held on the 21st of June and they were received by the full council on the 28th of June as a true record. Am I able to sign them as a true record? Move the minutes, thank you. We'll now move on to 180/22, and that's the financial report update. So I'll hand over to the finance officer, if that's all right, Clark. You haven't got anything there.
Thank you very much, councillors. In terms of the financial position or the financial performance, there are some costs that I have still a backlog of invoices to process. The only ones that haven't been processed relate to the utilities. So you'll see when you look at the utilities, water and sewage, electricity and gas, you'll see that those numbers are very low. The invoices that come through, I just haven't. I took a file home last night hoping to get through a whole lot, but I must admit I didn't get through very many of them. So they're a little bit behind. They're all contract costs. So as well as from hiding, hopefully not hiding anything from the committee. But otherwise, from an income perspective, our rental income is on track, which is quite pleasing, bearing in mind that Channel 3 is still vacant, and we've still got a little bit of money due to us from RBL. The last committee meeting, I was asked to carry that forward to finance. We haven't had a finance meeting since then, but we're finalising the finance agenda, and we'll make sure that that's put on. In terms of expenditure, salaries is a little bit lower than budget. We're now down to 17 staff members because we lost our countryside officer out of the staff establishment of 21. We do have some contract staff costs, temporary for our 4 week for our sessional workers, and their costs are gone, and so they've kind of absorbed some of the underspend. The only other cost that's really concerning to me, and it's just a timing issue, is rates. All of a sudden, we are now paying for Shambles 3 because it's a vacant property, so the tenant, when they move in, will pick up those rates. And last week, a nice rates bill of £5,000 arrived for the art gallery, because previously we had tenants in there. They moved out, and it's taken Brecon about 2.5 years to update their records. So we've had to pay rates, 2 years rates, and we're now on a monthly rates plan for that. And that wasn't forecast. So our rates budget is going to be quite depressing going forward, but that information is processed and it's on the screen in front of you. So you'll see it's nearly 20,000 versus a budget of 13,000. So we'll have to just keep an eye on that.
Could I just ask you, so why don't they just rate the whole of the guild all in one, and then you slip it out if you've got people in there?
I think what's happening is there's a significant timing difference between doing that. So if you think that the art gallery offices were vacated in August 2020, say from then up until now, so that's nearly just under 2 years, there's a whole lot of changes. We fill in, I sent valuation office data to input on our market and our car park, the Market Street car park, and other buildings that we have. And I think it takes quite a significant period of time for that to filter through from the valuation office down to Brecon Council, who are the bidding authority. So where the delay is, I'm not too sure, but there is a delay in terms of those processes happening.
Dennis?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but on the car park, as it's no longer a designated car park, will that make any difference in our rated value for it? Because if it's a community space, won't that reduce the rates on it? If it's no longer a designated car park, we shouldn't be paying rates on car park. We should be paying rates on community space if there is any rates on a community space.
Car park is not very expensive. I know it's not really deferring, it's about £205 a month over 10 months. But I think what's happened is we've actually, in the forms that I sent it, the car park wasn't operating as a car park. And because we don't generate any money from the car park, it does reduce the rateable value. So, for example, the park that's used as a market, so we have to distinguish between it being used as a car park for 5 days of the week and then a market for 2 of those days. We have to value our market. And the fact that the market proceeds have come down theoretically should translate into a lower rates value, but that might take another 2 years or so before that filters into our rates. But what I decided today, while preparing this, and I do apologize for the last minutes of it, is that as soon as we've caught up our backlog, I'm going to do an investigation into rates, because they're really all over the show. You know, we have one rates bill for the whole Carnegie and Guildhall complex, and we have these little add-ons, and whether that's making sense and whether we can actually use that information to make decisions is quite.
Because one of the things we were talking about, wasn't it, is we're going to get our property manager in and get him to measure all the offices and everything, because obviously there's a difference between the offices that we use for our day-to-day work and the bits that are used commercially, because all our office space isn't commercial. That's just our office space. So, yeah, we need to differentiate between parts of the Carnegie.
Right.
Did we claim for all the COVID stuff?
We weren't entitled to it.
Because we were designated a British Hall.
Yeah, so they wouldn't give it to us. I did write twice. They said no twice.
We come under small to middling council, so yeah. This is where you're recognised.
But we got paid rates in the
No, but sorry, our rateable value, all of our rates assistance was rateable value less than 50,000. And the combined value was greater than 50,000, so we didn't qualify for that support.
Yeah.
And then about 50,000 was all targeted support. So if you were Village Hall, you got a support grant. If you were another business, you got in the hospitality industry, you got a special hospitality grant. And unfortunately, we didn't qualify for any of that through our rate space.
So overall, we are running at a loss.
This committee will always run at a loss.
Yeah.
But surprisingly,
No, but you see what I mean, because of all the rates that need sorting out.
That will. There might be some other costs that are low. For example, our insurance costs we've just paid, they're lower than we anticipated because they actually froze them for a period of time. So there are some savings that come through, but it's all very early.
Yeah.
The other thing that we did last year is at the suggestion of the town clerk is we kind of did some inflation proofing of the business. So we overstocked on quite a few things at the end of the year. So that would have saved us some costs. So the inflationary costs in the first quarter are relatively low, But as those materials, cleaning materials get used up, I would expect our costs to start going up. And where we have noticed the percent rates is a different thing, but I mean, I was looking at fuel. I was doing amenities last week, and you can start to see that those bills
they will.
are starting to creep up, you know. The county manager said to me, he went to Sainsbury's to put petrol in, and he kept looking underneath because he thought he had a leak. So it kept going and going and going. So
I think if you can let the personnel committee know if we're going to get too much in the red, because then we'd have to go back to finance to say we need help, basically.
I think the thing is I probably using loss is the wrong word, and that we will either overspend the budget or underspend the budget rather than running at a loss, because like I say, we personnel will never make money. It's not that kind of thing. But you know, it's about us managing within the year as well, because it may well be that towards the end of the year we make decisions about not to do things or to do things, or you know, so there's other ways of managing the budget.
I think at the moment it looks like about 5%. I think that's pretty much okay, really. But if we were able to fill all the posts, we'd start paying out more on salaries and wages.
And the thing is over COVID, we made the conscious decision not to recruit in order to balance the budget. However, you know, we're 2 years in, and we cannot keep doing that to the staff, because we're running a significant amount short, particularly in areas that are very physical jobs. This week I have 2 members in the town team, that is it. And they cannot be expected to keep doing the work of 5 people. So, you know, recruitment there's another advert going to go out today, hopefully. So I do need to recruit those in. So unfortunately, for the overall budget, you know, the pay won't be a place of finding extra cash.
Are you thinking I'll rephrase that? Would there be a report on that coming up on below the line about the staffing situation?
We do have some things to say, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add? Any other questions on finance and what you've got before you? No? That's lovely. So we will move on to 181/22, and that's the committee officers update, please.
So there's no changes to the calendar of training, except that Karen has now been on her minutes course. So, you know, she's done that as well. Did that last week. She got very good feedback. So well done, Karen. She has hit the ground running and is surviving very well. She's doing very well. So recruitment, we have got 2 interview days in the diary for recruitment. That's for the administration officer and front of house, and those interviews are in the next couple of weeks. The job description for the town team member, that's going out today. Nick's just had a look at it. And for the countryside officer, we're having an internal meeting to review how we're going to move that position going forward, because we've had a turnover of them. We think how we're doing it's probably not quite fit for purpose, so we need to have a quick tweak of that before we go out with that. So onto the Carnegie roof, that is on tonight's planning for us to, if councillors choose to, agree the tender. And if that can be agreed tonight, work should be able to start on that in mid-August, which means that we'll be all watertight and happy before the onslaught of the winter. And also we'll be in a position as a council to look at solar PV panels for our energy needs. So that's on there that's tonight. The Play Park app is ready to deploy. Me and Nick were in the last final meeting with it, and that can also be given to councillors if they want it. And it's a bit like the open spaces one. We'll do the allotments and the open spaces app next, and the main app, there's a main management bit which has got for the play parks, it's got every play park, every piece of equipment by name, warranty, etc. All the repairs, all the outstanding jobs is on the main. And then you have an app on the phone, which is for inspections. So literally they load up what play park they're at, it pulls up all the equipment, they do and then that goes straight into the main console. And it also means that they can upload photographs and everything straight away, and that all goes in and helps us manage the repairs. So we're waiting for open spaces, looking at my bin police. That's you. They'll be able to have an app and literally take a photograph, and the GPS will log where that is, so we can find it straight away. And that will again go onto a job sheet. And what we can do is, if it's not our bins, we can link that to them so they know it's their bin and their limit.
So it won't tell us it's not our bin. We won't know. If we put it in.
The officers will know though.
Yeah,
When it goes back to you, you'll know.
you'll know, we'll know, yeah.
But we won't.
It won't come up to you. This is not our bin. It will put the report in, but what our system will do is, if it's a Breckland bin, it will redirect them to Breckland. Yeah.
Save us nothing, that's what we do.
No, but the thing is it's a good thing to report them anyway, isn't it? So, I mean, I don't think the effort's lost just because it's not ours. So, and the thing is then also we will have it on the system that it's been reported, so we'll have the date and time that it was reported, so that can be useful for us when dealing with other councils about their as well. So that's all good to go. I said we've had a quick look at decisions. We'll have a look again afterwards, and you know, I am using this committee as our guinea pigs to find out all the bits and pieces that work and don't work, so we can go back before we unleash it on the rest of the council. So I said we're jogging along nicely with that, really. So so that's my report list. If there's anything anyone wants to ask.
Any questions? No, that's fantastic. So we move on to 182/22, exclusion of press and public. To consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, the press and the public be excluded for any remaining items of business on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. Is that okay, councillors?
Yes.
Thank you. Please stop recording.